For decades, the luxury market has felt pretty predictable. You had your usual players on a very familiar map: Europe, Asia, North America. But what if that whole map is being redrawn right now by a completely new center of gravity? Today, we're diving into how Africa isn't just joining that game anymore, it's actually changing the rules. And that quote right there from market expert Grace Mumo, that's not just an observation. It's basically a declaration. We're way past the cautious language of potential, and we're now in an era where African influence is actively defining what luxury even means on a global scale. And that really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? What is fueling this incredible transformation? How did it go from being a risky bet on the sidelines to an absolute strategic necessity for the world's biggest brands? To really get what's happening now, we've got to rewind and look at the old map. For a long, long time, Africa was kind of on the fringes of the luxury world. A place for speculative side bets, sure, but not a core part of anyone's global strategy. I mean, just look at this contrast. The old way of thinking, that Africa was a place that simply consumed luxury goods from other places. But the new reality? It's an architect of global luxury. It's a core pillar of the entire market. This isn't just about growth, it is a fundamental shift in power. And this new reality has completely flipped the script on what risk even means. As the traditional luxury markets in Europe and Asia get more and more saturated, the whole risk-reward calculation for Africa has been turned completely on its head. So for the major players in the luxury space, the biggest gamble isn't about the risk of getting into the African market anymore. No, the real danger, the real risk, is the massive strategic cost of not being there at all. It's the cost of being left behind. Okay, so where is all this growth actually coming from? Well, it's not happening everywhere all at once. Instead, it's incredibly concentrated and accelerating inside what we can call wealth corridors. These are specific, high-density economic zones that are just booming. And this is where it gets really fascinating. You have these distinct hubs, and each one has its own powerful engine. So you've got the tech and industrial boom absolutely supercharging the Lagos-Accra corridor. Then there's the deep financial markets of Johannesburg and Cape Town. You've got a huge surge of private equity flooding into Nairobi and Addis Ababa. And of course, the Casablanca-Meraki gateway, which links African production directly to Europe. This is targeted, highly concentrated wealth creation. And let me be clear, this is not a slow burn. These corridors are expanding at a speed that's creating a massive first-mover advantage for anyone who really understands the terrain. Now, let's talk about who's driving all this demand, because this is so different from, say, the aging consumer base in a lot of Western markets. Africa's luxury consumer is young, overwhelmingly digital-first, and globally connected. We're talking about a dominant force of millennials and Gen Z who are setting the trends, not just following them. And that right there is a total game changer. This demographic isn't just buying luxury. They are actively shaping the entire global conversation around it. Their tastes, the way they interact online, what they aspire to, it's all starting to set the agenda for the industry worldwide. So what's fueling this new narrative? It really boils down to one of the most powerful forces in this whole shift: the global explosion of African culture. And this isn't just a social trend, believe me, it's a potent economic force. Think about it like this. Culture has become a powerful multiplier for brand value. It's the new currency that's backing the continent's growing prestige on the world stage. And you can see this everywhere. The global takeover of Afrobeats and Amapiano music, the rising influence of Nollywood films, the celebrated fashion weeks in Lagos and Johannesburg, a contemporary art market that is absolutely booming. These aren't niche interests anymore. These are major global cultural exports. So you might be asking, how does all this cultural buzz actually translate into dollars and cents? Well, it creates what experts call a halo effect. The global desire for African creativity and culture literally raises the value of everything associated with it, from fashion labels to luxury real estate and even tourism. Okay, so let's bring all of this together. What does this mean for global business and investment? It means the game has fundamentally changed. We have moved well beyond speculative side bets and into the realm of strategic imperatives. And here's the bottom line. That window of opportunity, the one where you could treat Africa as just some kind of side experiment, it is closing, and it's closing fast. For any investment portfolio that's serious about growth, engaging with the continent's luxury sector is no longer just an option, it's an absolute necessity. So, the new playbook for successful investment, it's actually pretty straightforward. First, you identify and really focus on those high-growth wealth corridors we were just talking about. Second, you target the specific sectors where demand is skyrocketing past supply. And third, you have to leverage the immense power of the continent's cultural influence. And if you're wondering where to look, here are the key sectors everyone's watching. There's a serious shortage of top-tier hotel rooms in major financial hubs. Premium real estate in those wealth corridors is becoming a safe haven for capital. And with some of the gaps in regional infrastructure, private aviation is shifting from just a luxury to a genuine business essential. And that brings us to the final, and I think most powerful idea. It's a subtle but absolutely critical distinction. The conversation is no longer about what Africa will become. It's about recognizing what it is right now, a central force that is actively shaping the future of the entire global luxury landscape. So the question is no longer whether Africa is ready for global luxury. The real question we have to ask is this: are global investors and brands truly prepared to meet this dynamic, influential, and defining market on its own increasingly powerful terms?